I think President Xi is right when he says we can't go back. You can't go back and step into the same place. But we can have a more productive future, and we should have a more productive future. That U.S.-China relations will define the prosperity of the world in the 21st century. And what President Xi said is we should be looking at the productive parts of the relationships, not the confrontational part. So if you look at what the truly critical issues confronting the world are, what do you see? Climate change, first of all. The United States and China must cooperate on climate change. Other issue, we've seen this terrible terrorist attack in Russia. That reminds me that one of the most critical issues in the world remains terrorism. The United States and China do not have conflicting interests on terrorism. There are other issues, trade and investment. Of course, each country needs to protect its national security. But as President Xi said, we should not make everything about national security. That trade and investment between the United States and China improve the lives of the American people and the Chinese people. To restrict it on an overly broad definition of national security is bad for both peoples, bad for the Chinese people and bad for the American people. We're not going to go back to the relationship of the past, but we can have a more productive, a more constructive relationship by focusing on common interests rather than conflicting interests and make your lives better. It's one of the best markets in the U.S. Decoupling is not beneficial to the people of the United States, to the people of China. You need, when people talk about decoupling, you need to look at what their business is, what their politics are, and figure out, do they get a benefit from this decoupling? So if you're a Chinese producer of widgets, just taking that, making it up, and you're exporting to the United States, and there's a U.S. domestic producer who's inefficient, his costs are very high, and he decides, well, let's call for decoupling. Let's not allow Chinese widgets to come into the United States. So he benefits and is the one who advocates for that kind of policy. I think the reality is, and the Biden administration has been quite clear, we, the United States government, is not looking for decoupling.